former MP for the main opposition Labour Party. He joins us from Florence in Italy. Roger, I say main opposition Labour Party. It may not be too long before Labour is back in power, because the opinion polls are showing that as this contest was going on between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, Labour was gaining more and more popularity in the polls. At the moment, it's what? Something like 42% in favour of Labour, 24% in favour of the Tories. Liz Truss has a lot of work to do to win the next election.
Well, good afternoon. I gave up predicting the results of elections when I lost my seat in 2005. They say a week is a long time in politics. 2 years is a very long time. And the next thing that Liz Truss, so I don't know, but certainly Labour will be pleased to see the back of Boris Johnson, not least because he was clearly an election winner for the Conservative Party. It remains to be seen whether Liz Truss will be an election winner. I think it's a mistake in politics to underestimate people.
Yes, and she has been massively underestimated, it does seem. OK, so let's give her the 2 years and see what happens. But what do you feel about her ambitions? Do they appear realistic to you? She's had ideas about increasing defence spending. The Royal United Services Institute in the UK, it's published figures which show that that increase that Liz Truss wants is probably unworkable. She says that she's going to reduce taxes. She was asked whether those taxes would benefit the richest people the most. She said yes, but she seems to believe in trickle-down economics. I thought that was a discredited theory from the time of Ronald Reagan.
Well, of course, Ronald Reagan was a contemporary Margaret Thatcher, and some people might like to make the comparison between Liz Truss and Margaret Thatcher. But I think one thing we can say is Liz Truss is no Margaret Thatcher, although apparently she does share Margaret Thatcher's work ethic. I think you're absolutely right. She's told us quite a lot already in the very short speech that she's just made as the new Conservative leader. And her mantra was, I'm going to deliver, I'm going to deliver, I'm going to deliver, or rather, I will deliver. But of course, and what she was talking about was tax cuts, and as she was talking about help for people with their energy bills. And I think that defies logic. You can't cut taxes and increase government spending at the same time unless you put borrowing up significantly, which I don't think she's going to easily be able to do. And so I think the question for Liz Truss is, how is she going to deliver tax cuts? How is she going to deliver the help that people need? How is she going to meet the challenges that she faces? It's one thing to say that she will do. I'm sure she'll work hard. But so far, we've heard very little about what she actually proposes in terms of how she will do those things.
Yes, she seemed almost to be deliberately silent about those issues until this result was announced. She now says she'll get to work to deliver on her promises. What about her premiership in terms of the outside world, Roger? What does that appointment mean? You'll remember in February, when she met the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, he practically trolled her live in person when they were sitting at the same desk. He said, do you recognize Russian sovereignty over Rostov? And the other area was Voronezh. And she said, we'll never recognize Russian sovereignty over those areas. And then she had to be told they're actually in Russia. She confused the Black Sea with the Caspian Sea. So this is the foreign minister. Did she even know her brief?
Well, it's easy under pressure to make mistakes, and I think we should be a little bit more forgiving of politicians. But that's a serious error, and I think it shows that she should have been better briefed. She tends to be rather dismissive of civil servants, but as a senior politician, you're actually very dependent on your civil servants, and you should trust them. So I think I hope she's learned a lesson from that, and I hope that she will listen to her civil servants and to experts, and to get the help that she needs to do her job properly. The other point I'd just quickly make, if I may, is that when you're a candidate in a Conservative leadership election, you're playing to a very small audience, 172,000 Conservative members, most of whom are men and most of whom are over the age of 70. And they have a particular view of the world. And Liz Truss got on by being rude to everybody, including to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron. Now she is the Prime Minister. Instead of poking fun and making attacking other leaders, she's got to make friends with them because she's got to be statesmanlike. So I think her tone will change. I think her approach will change. But she is pretty hard line when it comes to the EU and Russia. I think that will continue, but I think the style will have to change.
Roger, really appreciate it. Thank you so much indeed. Roger Casale speaking to us from Firenze even.